Okay, so I'm back. I'm still Ted, and this is the Real Ted G podcast. And in my series of people who are great at what they do, today I have a really special guest. She's actually one of the top agents across Long Island for Coldwell Banker, as well as all real estate agents. She is constantly and consistently an award winning agent in terms of transactions closed and grosses as well, commission grosses. And I probably would run out of time if I talked about all the awards that she's received. And she is the first person to pay anyone a compliment in my book. In fact, the biggest compliment she pays us is that she works with us, and she chose to, we get to choose where we work, and she chose to work with us, and she's a high caliber agent, 100% professional, and the epitome of consistent quality. And this is Susan Owen. Thanks for joining us, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Ted. It's
On the
my
podcast,
pleasure.
I mean, even more ways than one. So, Susan, this is a series, and you agreed to do a podcast, and you've never done a podcast before.
Correct.
Well, careful. Once you do one, it's a lot like taking a listing. You might not be able to stop. And in your book, that says a lot. So, but once you do one, it is kind of fun. So, the first podcast that you're doing, and we're also in the works of doing some more social media with you as well. Now, this podcast in particular is part of a series that I'm doing on people that are great at what they do. I'm taking people everywhere from Orange Theory coaches and different coaches, as well as people in the industry, whether it's our mortgage industry that connects with us very easily, and also in the industry of real estate. I have some other real estate agent options as well that I am definitely going to call in my favors. But you're the first because
Thank
you
you.
you work with me and you're constantly paying us compliments and you're always helping. Several agents owe a bit of thanks to you as well. Some of my new agents as well.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So when it comes to being great, and you're in real estate, and you've been in real estate for
24 years, Ted.
that alone means you're pretty darn good just to last that long in real estate. And when it comes to being great, my first question is, and it's not part of the, I gave you three questions to concentrate on, but the first question I have for you is actually, do you think it's in your blood?
I think sales in general, yes. I love people. I'm fascinated by people. And it's what makes me happiest being with people.
Okay. Oh, good. And you're in the right business for that. And
Yes.
it's 100% true. Now, I gave Susan some questions, and I don't want to ask it differently, and then poor Susan is going to say, that's not the question. Okay. So, 24 years and counting, what would you attribute to your longevity in real estate?
Ted, in addition to hard work, when my business reached a certain level, I recognized that I just couldn't do it all by myself. So at that point, my third year in the business, I hired an assistant.
Oh, third year in the business.
Yes,
Awesome. Great.
yes. And to be able to delegate and to be able to have some downtime, my family, my children, grandchildren, and friends, they're very important to me. And to be able to delegate my work to competent others, although I oversee every aspect of a transaction, I still need some time for me. The first couple of years, my life was out of balance. I was working a minimum of 60 to 70 hours a week. And that is not the case at all anymore. Hence, that's why I'm still here and very happy.
Yeah. Well, I think what a lot of agents, especially new agents, and even agents that have been in the business and trying to, up their game, I think they don't realize that, yeah, the first couple of years you do, would you have done, could you have ever done it differently? You had to work the 80 hours, right?
You know what, Ted? I didn't grow up in this immediate community, so and I had no money, so I had to.
That motivates people. Lack of money.
So I door knocked. I door knocked on a daily basis and kept strict. The simplest of things, if someone told me they were retiring in 2 years, well, I made note of that. And in that 2 year period, I would consistently keep in touch with them And when it came time and they did retire, they called me. Um, Lots of keeping yourself in front of others. It's just so important. The simplest of things. I went as far as when I had no business, I would stand in front of even a supermarket and ask people if they wanted a free market evaluation. It was practice for me, and it cost them nothing.
Oh, people are getting. I hope new agents are listening. I mean, maybe two have subscribed now. I hope new agents are listening because that alone is just something that you. I guess you have to hear it over and over again. And when you hear it from someone who has, actual success to back it up, yeah, you have to. Sit, even if it is sitting in front of a supermarket, saying, "I can offer you a free home evaluation." Why not? What I also like, I'm going to bring up your words. You actually, when you prospect or door knock prospecting, you always say bring something of value.
Always. Very important. Again, it could be the simplest of things. How is your school district performing? Most people want to know. Any special free events, the ferry, the schedule, simple, simple things just to start a conversation and directly ask, do you know of anybody who's thinking of selling, buying? I'm looking to expand my business. And quite honestly, Ted, at the time, I sure needed to expand it because I had no business.
Well, you and I both have learned from a lot of the same people, but definitely like the Mike Ferry,
Yes,
Tony Robbins. You've done his seminars as
I
well,
have. I have.
and then we actually have a mutual acquaintance, Steve Harney,
Yep,
and he definitely packed a lot of punch in his seminars, information wise.
absolutely.
And don't under I mean I would never underestimate. I hope people don't underestimate how important it is to be knowledgeable.
Exactly.
We had an idea, and I'm using all my ideas. We had an idea like something I think we talked about a postcard, and it said, know your market, know your numbers,
Hmm.
know your agent.
Right.
And soon you will see that on a postcard. But it's so important, and you have to convey a message on some of these postcards. And you make it easy because all I do is I'm just going to put together all your sales, and people will know that you have a track record and success ratio. But it's
Hmm.
so important to know your numbers. Like if I was to ask you in your specific market areas of how many houses have sold, you know how to answer me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you probably can also, if I wanted to buy in any of those market areas and
Hmm.
others, but especially the ones that you specialize in, if I said, Susan, what do you think I should offer? You know the exact number.
I
I saw
do.
you do it with a client. That's why I'm repeating it.
I do. I do. I can do a market evaluation report in my head. Of course, that's not at all how I present things. People need to see with their own eyes, prove and demonstrate. And that all comes into positioning a home in the market correctly. It's so very important. And in a market, things are always changing. Right now, I all of my houses in the last 2 years, every one of my listings sold above asking due to the shortage of inventory because I still
Well,
aggressively market
yes,
it.
don't cut yourself, don't sell yourself short. Because yes, the shortage of inventory is leading to some of these bidding wars. There's a word that I would, now that I'm working with you. I always knew of you, and I knew, we work in the same brand, but we never worked side by side. Now that I'm working with you, and I would have used the word before as well, but now more so, it's the word consistent. You have systems in place, but it's the
Yes,
consistency that you do things. Your CMA, your market analysis for a home, you have a consistent plan for your clients,
I do.
and that's one of my other key questions. What would you say is the most important, the number one piece of advice that when you say it to your client and they take your advice, pays off dividends in the sale of their home?
I'm very clear with them. Less is more. And it's critically important for a buyer to be able to walk in and see the house, not all the things. And since people are intending to move, why not get that storage unit or start emptying out now? Showcase your house in the best possible light. And cleaning doesn't cost a lot of money. most of the time, my clients are very receptive. I also will stage a house, move
Mm-hmm.
furniture for them. And when you've built a brand and a trust, they're good with it. And that makes me feel so comfortable and happy.
Yeah. And more so when you give that advice, and that's perfect advice. Declutter, less is more. You are moving anyway. You're actually setting their emotional expectations
Right.
because it is a big move.
Of course.
I don't know. I haven't moved often, but moving is difficult.
Stressful. It is so stressful.
Yeah, and you're setting them up their emotional expectations. I feel, and I've seen it in action. I've seen a house before they took your advice, and I've seen it after. And then on top of that, I think that you bring it to the next level because you were doing, you have always, you were doing professional photography for all your listings before it was the norm here on Long Island. You know, I
Definitely.
speak about the Long Island market. I know it. I grew up in it. Obviously, I grew old in it. So I speak about the Long Island market, and 15 years ago, no, people were told to take a picture with your digital camera 15 years ago. And then we were with iPhones and take a
Right.
picture with your phone. Okay. And then, suddenly I'm sure there was a select few, you included, that started doing professional photography, which is great. I love it.
Hmm.
I mean, I abide by it now.
Absolutely.
But you did it again. The word is consistent. Every one of your
Absolutely.
listings had professional photography. I saw that your listings stood out in a market where we had an abundance of inventory, and that's a smart move. That was a smart move, and it still is, to make sure that your listings were going to stand out.
Absolutely. And to make every house, condo, co op important.
True.
It doesn't matter if the price range is 100,000 or a million. Not that there's anything for
Or more.
100,000 in today's world or more. It's their home. They need to feel that this is important to you. And it is.
Hmm.
It's very important. It's their home. They love it.
Yeah. And as clients, you make your clients feel that they are important to you as well.
Absolutely. Because
I
they
see that.
are.
Absolutely, it's our business. That's our
Right.
that's our bloodline. If we
Exactly.
don't make our clients happy, somebody else will.
And go above and beyond.
Hmm.
Recently, um, lovely woman. In fact, she's an attorney. She wrote the nicest review for me because whatever I had to do to make it happen, she's out of state. Her mom passed away. And whether it was meeting the electrician, the plumber, the moving men, staging, whatever needed to get done, I did that. And really, it was my pleasure. I want to help people get to the next step in their life.
I have a client. You know them. You met them. The people on the water. They're planning
Yes.
they're having a wedding in the backyard, so we can't show it this week or through the weekend. And she said the client texted, "Oh, I'm doing this, and this is what's going on." And they have a little turmoil with the wedding plans and everything. And I said, Joanne, let me know if I can help you with anything. I do know, we know a lot of people.
Oh, I
If there's
believe
someone
you.
that needs a plan, this. I said, I'm not just here to sell the house. So
Oh,
I think they appreciate it. They're sweet. They're sweethearts. But I feel I just said it before on a different podcast. Every day you learn, and
yes.
I mean you've been with us for a few months now. I know I've learned, and you kind of bring a game in, or bring your game, so we all have to up our game. And I'm like, wait a minute, I have to be consistent now too. Let's not drop the ball.
You
Let's
are. You
oh,
are. And really, I've learned from you, Ted, as well.
Oh, now that's the biggest compliment. One of the biggest compliments I've gotten. There's a couple of other people that have said that they've learned something from me, and that I take it. I like that's actually the compliment. It's not who says it; it's that you were able to assist. You were able to say, okay, oh wait, we just a little bit a benefit in someone's life.
Absolutely. I'm here. I
Yeah.
would never have done this podcast just six
Hmm.
months ago.
Oh, and let's
No,
not forget what's going
this
on with social media. Yeah,
this is thanks to
tune
you.
in about two
And,
weeks.
and in that area, I am going to up my game.
Yeah. What I'm really hoping to bring as a benefit to you is the ability to, yes, you work hard as anyone else in the industry, and take that and say, okay, wait, you've earned your, what's the word, rest. I want to have your, with your systems and your consistency, just like set it and forget it, and just a system that oh, I'm going to go away for 3 days, and you're going to be able to actually go away. That's what I can't help.
And you do,
Oh, thank you.
really.
So now I have two questions about the
Sure.
industry. So, question number one: what do you enjoy most about your industry, real estate
The
sales?
people.
Okay.
Really, that's what I enjoy most. Often people are selling houses for happy reasons and sometimes not so happy. Who has passed away, who's getting a divorce, and to be able to navigate through all of sometimes muddy waters, um, I really enjoy helping people.
And so the follow-up question to that, I'm asking every guest. Every guest gets the same question, actually. The follow-up question is, what do you enjoy least?
Sometimes the hours can be stressful, the weekend work, the evening work. But if it's something you're going to resent, then you cannot be in the business. But there are times where it can be a bit much. Um, but again, there's so much more good than there is that part of it. And real estate's changed my life.
Uh, I know, me too. And real estate can change anyone's life. And
Absolutely.
it is a great field. I like the people. I like the fact that we're always going to be running into new situations, new predicaments, new good things, new not so good things. But we're there to muddle through and get through it.
And keep in front of the market.
Yep.
Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market?
Well, to
Interest
answer
rates
that
up,
question,
down.
is it a buyer's market or a seller's market?
Right now,
Yep.
seller's market.
Do you think it's changing anytime soon?
Unless we get more inventory, I do not believe it's going to change. I really have not seen a decrease in prices. I've seen a leveling off, but I've not seen the prices decrease.
Right. True. So yeah, no, without, I think it has to be an immense amount of inventory joining our market.
Me too.
Yeah, and it's good. And by the way, how do you feel about a changing market? Like, have you had your years have? Wait, let me answer that. Let me put that question together. All your good years haven't been a seller's market
Oh, God, no.
or a buyer's market.
No.
They've been,
Every market.
and that's the consistency key. That's it. That's actually the benefit. But yeah, so whether it's a seller's market or buyer's market, it's still a market. And actually, I always find the most fun, and I'm not sure if we're in that period of the market yet. I find the transitioning market actually more fun than anything else. It's short lived.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see where is this headed.
Hmm.
Um, but every market has its positive and negative. Right now, I have some wonderful buyers, and I wish I had more things to show them, more houses. But they'll be coming.
Yeah. It is amazing how that works out. Have you ever stood back and thought, yeah, this seller had to sell a house, and they're usually a seller's biggest concern is if they're buying something else. Oh,
Right.
what if I don't find something? I I'll tell you what I said to a client after you tell me. Like, isn't it amazing? Do you find it amazing that it's almost 9 times out of 10, and I feel 100% of the time, it all figures itself out. The seller sells, and suddenly there's the right house.
With my experience, most of the time, Ted, that is the case.
Yeah. Like even so, buyers that we work together, you referred them to me recently in the North Shore area, and did you feel? We're not going to name names. Did you feel that they were destined for not being able to find a house?
Um, my feelings were eventually they would find a house.
Eventually.
Eventually, but the eventual came sooner rather
Yeah.
than
They're either
later.
going to find a house or a house is going to find them. Yeah, and they're
Exactly.
closing in 2 days.
Which is wonderful, and that is thanks to you. Congratulations,
Yeah,
Ted.
and it was a fun experience. A lot of times we get not preoccupied, but we're both listing agents, so we focus on the sellers. We have our sellers, and we have a lot. There's a lot involved, so it's amazing that we can even attempt to take out a few buyers here and there. But when they're
Absolutely.
serious buyers, these people were obviously a referral from you, so they're coming from a trusted source, and it's like, oh, you want to do good for them.
You do.
Yeah, and they appreciate it. I have the texts that say, "Oh my God, woohoo, we're closing finally." So I feel like their lease is coming to an end as well. So I think it's time they closed. So they're not homeless.
It did
Uh,
work out.
it did.
Yeah.
It worked out to the T, and that's my favorite part of real estate. The amazing way. I was speaking to someone about their transaction, and oh, his name is Lou, and I said, Lou, I could not have spelled out, I could not have written out a better transaction here. If you had said, Ted, what would be the best transaction? I say, okay, it never happens, Lou, but here's how it would be, and then his transaction works out to be okay. That's it. So, so
That's a thrill
yeah,
and exciting for sure.
yeah. So now I only have a handful of questions left.
Okay.
Okay,
Shoot.
okay. One fun question first. If you had to choose, now, doesn't mean that you don't like one versus the other, but I believe there's two kinds of people in this world. I'm asking this of every guest I get now
Okay.
for the great at what they do segments. I'd like to know if you had to choose Elvis or the Beatles.
The Beatles.
Okay, that's really cool. That you're the second guest in a row that has said Beatles. Okay,
What about
interesting.
you?
I've always chose Elvis.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like a cosmic thing. There's, it's just it's never a choice. I love the Beatles. I love them too.
Hmm.
I love their music. I love everything about them. But if someone said you have to choose, I'm going to choose Elvis. I don't.
Okay.
I feel the world. I know that the Beatles made a huge impact too. But I feel the world. Like I think the impact that someone had was on the world in some cases. But,
Hmm.
but they're both great. They're both amazing. They're both great at what they do too. They did. All right, my last three questions are
Hmm.
something that actually we did this at an office meeting, but I loved it. I love the exercise. So three questions. First question: what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Okay, give me three adjectives to describe blue.
Soft. Serene. Peaceful.
Okay, favorite animal.
Dog.
Okay, three adjectives to describe the dog.
Happy. Unconditional love. That's two words.
Yes, but
Um,
what adjective? That's good.
sorry about that. Mm, just very lovable and companion. Not an adjective, I
No,
know.
no, that's all good. No, no, three. You're perfect. And then the next thing is to close your eyes and picture yourself in a all white room. Everything is white. You're wearing white, and just take a second and tell me how you feel.
Happy.
Two more descriptions.
Relaxed. Fun.
Okay. Ooh.
Happy, relaxed, and fun.
So I don't know if you remember this from the last time. So the last time we did this at an office meeting. So the first word you picked a color. That's how others perceive you.
Okay.
Then when you chose your favorite animal, that is actually how you perceive yourself.
Okay.
Now I remember hearing lovable, and and the third thing to describe when you're in the white room is actually how we view death. So very positive, like across the board. It was very. You seem to have a very positive energy, positive outlook on everything.
As you do, Ted.
Well, and it's not easy. So I'm gonna. I know it's not easy. So I can only imagine how it is for you.
Sales, listen, there's a lot of rejection in sales, and we get to a point where we know how to put it in its place and
Yeah.
move on.
Well, so our boss,
Excuse me.
Mike, always talks about the difference between rejection and refusal. So in sales, it's really a refusal. I don't want to sign these papers, Ted. Okay, that's refusing. Rejection can only be from someone that has an emotional connection to you, which would be a spouse, a child,
Hmm.
a family member. They are the only ones that, they can dictate that, oh, I got rejected. And you feel a little depressed, sad. It's the emotional attachment. So our clients are great people, but we're here to serve as a business entity. So Mike always talks about the difference between refusal and rejection, and that can dictate a future in real estate or not.
I
If you
agree.
take everything to heart and not understand, this is business. Let's
Right.
discuss the difference between rejection and refusal. But yes, you are 100% right. We get a lot in any sales industry
Sure.
that involves people.
Absolutely.
We get a lot of no's, but a lot of no's are actually they don't know enough yet.
And it
That's
brings us closer to the yes.
100%. See, these are all great phrases, great words that I've heard over the years, and I have to do a better job of actually using them. You have not you have not forgotten like one training technique from like 24 years ago, apparently.
I still clearly remember Steve Horney's techniques, training. Um, I actually have a book that I used to take notes many years ago. What a wonderful trainer and
Yeah.
tremendous impact on my life.
He had a real knack for understanding how to get the information across. And I
Yes,
don't know, I didn't see him in the field like as an actual agent, but I
right.
saw him as a trainer.
Me too.
And that like I still remember it was amazing how he knew how to get through to agents and get through them like and make it click.
And motivate.
Yeah.
Motivate.
Yep. Um,
Very important.
Amazing trainer. He built an empire. He built.
Yes,
I mean, I think they grew
he
to like
sure
almost
did.
20 offices at one point. And yeah, so anyone who doesn't know Steve Harney, he does. He actually created Keeping Current Matters, which everyone in our company actually we subscribe for them. So we love the knowledge, the information on there, and we use it on a regular basis. And again, it goes back to being know your numbers, know your market, n-
Correct.
know your agent.
Hmm.
I have to remember to use that on a postcard for you. All right. Wait. One last question then. Wait.
Sure.
Well, actually, it doesn't have to be a last question. I got all the time in the world. I'm in real estate. Uh, uh, is it about the postcard or is it about the person?
Oh, it's definitely about the person.
I knew your answer. I'd never asked you, but
It's definitely about the person.
I run into this all the time with new agents, even existing agents, and it's not about the postcard. I've seen people spend hours, days, weeks, years
Exactly.
perfecting a postcard,
Right.
and it doesn't matter. It has to do with the person.
Absolutely.
But that's also why like the professional photos on your listings, they enhance the house and they bring a a true light, I don't know, just a complementary light to a home. Same with you. You did use the photographer I recommended to update your photos a few years back,
I did.
and I love them. I told you I loved them when you first took them. They brought out those words that you described yourself. The lovable,
Oh, thank you.
warm. I've tried to remember the exact words. That is what that photographer brought out in you, and you can
Thank
see
you.
it in your photo. You can see it at the bus stop all the time. When I see it, big billboard that says, Susan Owens, and suddenly I'm like, that looks so. It's like a cute and cuddly photo. It's like that, but that's actually you. That is you. So, and I think people
Thank
that
you.
meet you also see that. Just
Thank you.
the warmth, and I'm not trying to compliment you. You already work here, so
But you know what, Ted, seriously, you have a wonderful way of bringing out the best in people. I see that for 10 years you kept in touch with me when anyone else would have
Yes.
told me to forget it. They would never have had really the fortitude. And
Oh,
when I wanted to make that change, and I was ready to make that change, you were the only person that came to mind.
oh, I appreciate that. There is a funny story. And it was 10 years ago actually. I remember what I would say is the moment that not the moment that we had a connection, and it was a very long time ago,
Yes.
and it was actually I was merely doing what we both do, what we all should be doing, not going above and beyond. But when it's in my power to do something, my agent had gone away. I can't remember if it was visiting colleges or no, it was like a family
I
trip.
remember it.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm
A
talking
house
about.
in the Pines.
Yeah, House in the Pines, and I feel like it was on Meyer Lane. Was it on Meyer Lane?
It may
Nice
have
house.
been.
It was
Yep.
very pretty,
Very nice house.
and I remember just going to so I could accompany her buyer. She important family trip. I remember this for a reason. Okay, important family trip, and great agent. She would do the same for me. So, and not that that's the reason I did it. I did it because it was in my power to do it, and let's do it. And it was what, a 4:30 p.m., 5 o'clock showing, and you had to open the door because I don't think the lockbox was on it or something. And so I went there, and I remember your reaction. I was like, "You're doing this? I don't know any manager that would do this." I'm doing a bad impression of you, but I remember your reaction, and I feel like then about a year and a half later was when we may have had a conversation about actually working together, and I still feel that that conversation came about from that moment, and it's about what you feel. And it's not about what you see or anything. I could have put that on a postcard, and I could have said, "This is what I do." It wouldn't have been the same. See, it's
No.
not about the postcard; it's about the person.
No, it was very impressive to me. I don't know of another manager who would have done that. Um, they would suggest you find another agent to step in, and I was so impressed. And you have helped me out recently. Family member was sick, and you stepped right up, and
But
that
it's
means a lot to me.
and yes, I think we should all do what we can, and especially do good. Pay it forward anytime we're available. Like I wish I had I was in a position like even now with like you hear the fires in Hawaii. I wish I was it would be just so amazing to me if I could say, okay, oh, I'm gonna go for 10 days and just help. Like, but it's just not in most people's means to be able to say, okay, let me
Sure.
leave everything the way it is.
Right.
It might be more detrimental than
Sure,
helpful.
sure.
But that would be like an amazing thing. And I'm not saying it to be like some weirdo. I'm just saying it because it would be a pretty fulfilling thing to
Yes,
know
it
that you
would.
help people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and again, and even those little things, the little details all add up to a big deal. Like even showing that house at the end of the day, rule number 32A in real estate: preview your inventory. Know
Absolutely.
your market, know your numbers, know your agent,
Hmm.
right? So like rule number 33A, preview inventory. So I was helping my agent named Debbie, and I was like, previewing inventory. I was new to the market. I was new to
Absolutely.
Medford. I think I had sold one house no, two houses in Medford the year 10 years or in the last 10 years before that, and maybe one house in Patchogue. So up until then, I was like new to the marketplace here.
Yeah, previewing inventory is so
Yeah.
important. That's something else I did on a regular basis as a new agent. I would earmark a certain amount of time each week because then you're seeing firsthand, okay, that's what 500 buys.
Yeah.
That's what 700 buys. Makes all the difference. It's a wonderful learning tool. And again, you're getting out there nose to nose with people. I actually had someone, the listing expired, and I had gone months before, and he called me because he liked the way I showed his house.
Yeah. It happens whenever you follow a strategy, a
Yes.
step by step, consistent strategy. You probably show a house the same, no matter who you're showing it to.
Yes.
So I do the same thing. We probably have slightly different styles, but we still follow a strategy.
Hmm.
Okay, so then, so three, I think previewing homes is probably one of the three, but three top things any new agent. You know what? I hate saying the word new. How about any agent? Because I think we have a lot of agents that we work with, and it's great. We have an abundance of licenses in Suffolk County and across Long Island on our MLS. What are the three things that any agent should be doing consistently to ensure success?
Getting in front of people, getting in front of as many people as you can, letting your entire sphere of relatives know this is what I do for a living. Um, and it doesn't cost a lot of money
No, it could be
to.
almost free to speak to people.
It was. That's how I
Oh, this
started.
isn't free. This costs money. I have to
It,
buy equipment. I have to. I have a producer. Yeah, this is
no,
talking to
no,
people the expensive way.
I don't mean this at all. What I'm saying is though, what do the agents need to do? they have to earmark, treat it as you would any other job. Minimum 40 hours a week. Each day, get up, write a list. What am I going to accomplish today? And if that means I'm going to door knock 40 houses, then do so. But every single day, make a list and do it.
And do it. That's the second part. And meet
Do it.
in front of people. We underestimate the power of people. And yes, in real estate, we don't get paid a salary. We
Right.
actually, it's all commission based. So you will speak to 22 people in a day and you will not see a dime.
Right.
But 3 months later, you might see more than your share of dimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's about. So I love it. It really is just about talking to people, not in front of not in front of TikTok, not in front of a video game screen, not in front of. I could go on, but I digress. So I appreciate you doing the podcast,
Oh,
and
my pleasure, Ted.
that's great.
Really.
And I really am looking forward to working together. I think,
Same here.
yeah, we
And
have.
thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for suggesting this. Um, really, if it were not for you making this suggestion, I don't think I would be doing the podcast. So thank you.
Don't be shocked if you're not asked. You might be asked by other people to do podcasts, but we started it here first.
Thank you
And you should
so
take an
much.
opportunity. If someone else wants to learn or figure out a platform to have them learn from you, I invite that. I think that that's a smart thing. People are listening to podcasts all the time,
True.
and I wonder who they're listening to. I had two new agents tell me, I was listening to this podcast, and this is how they would deal with this objection. I said, well, who were you listening to? And because not that, yes, I didn't agree with the suggestion, but at the same time, find out who you're listening to. Know your numbers, know your market, know your agent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, know your podcast. Like, I mean, between us, we're in terms of transactions, we are probably in the thousands
Yes,
because, I mean, it's amazing how time flies.
it sure
When
does.
you think about, you add one year, it's like, oh, that was 25 transactions, and you add another year, and that was like, that was 65. That was a 65 transaction year, and then you start adding it up, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, have I been around that long?
Yes, yes, I
That's how I
have.
feel.
I have.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you actually go right to the answer. Yes, I have. I have been around that long. But you've also been around a lot of great managers, a lot of
I
great
have.
support. You've always made good decisions, whether it's where to do business and how to do business. So kudos to you.
Thank you so much.
And do you think that that's a genetic thing? Knowing who to listen to. I see that. Agents give advice to other agents. So one agent who's been in the business 6 months and one agent who's been in the business 2 months, I could see them giving advice to each other. And I remember being a new agent, even though it was not that long ago. I somehow, I don't know why, maybe I have the gene that says, oh wait, listen to this person, don't listen to that person. Like I listened to my first broker. He was no nonsense, my way or the highway, but it was worth listening to him because
Absolutely.
he was also successful.
Mm-hmm.
My current broker, same thing.
Absolutely.
Like maybe it's genetic. Do you have that same gene? Like,
Oh no, maybe.
did you ever listen to someone that you shouldn't have?
No. No,
See what I mean?
really. I just get a feel for people. And if I'm not feeling good about what they're saying, I just move on.
Well, you've made really amazing decisions
Thank you.
along the way, and kudos to you for the longevity of your career. There's
Thank you.
not a lot of success currently successful producing agents that can say they've been in the business 24 years.
Yes.
I think I phrased that right.
Yes, you did.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And so this is Ted. This is the Real Ted G podcast. We thank Susan Owen. I wouldn't even be able to recite all the awards, but do you remember your favorite award? We're gonna end on a crazy high note. I remember one year, it was not that long ago. It was only a couple of years back that I think you were the number one agent in all of New York, or was it higher than that?
Um,
I remember that. I remember the post on Facebook. That's why I do remember it. Number one, was it across? I don't think it was. Was it only Long Island or was it all of New York? It might have been
well,
New York.
mm, Coldwell, The number one agent for Coldwell
You
Banker.
have to say it louder and into the
Oh,
microphone.
sorry. Number one agent for Coldwell Banker, Nassau, Suffolk, and Queens.
And that's why I think it's important when agents choose to listen to almost anyone. I feel they should choose to listen to someone like you.
Oh, thank you, Ted. And you.
Well, I listen to you because you give me great strategy, great plans, and just great information and how to advise some of my new agents as well. If you're going to be successful, do what successful people have already done.
Totally agree.
This is Ted G. This is my podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify. I don't know why I always forget Spotify. And thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you so much.